this is job is getting agreeable gray color. So this is just showing you what paints to add lacquer thinner to. Some paints you thin down, some paints you don't. I've already shook this up a little bit and then I dumped it out in here. There's a paint shaker on the back of the, oh, there used to be one right there. I won't get it mounted again. But this color that has the blue label right here, that's how you know if you thin the paint down. If it has this blue label on the can. If it doesn't, they're usually the darker colors, and you don't thin it down very much. You do put a little bit of lacquer thinner in here, but just probably as much as what paint's in here, just to like put the lid back on and clean all that color pigment out, and shake it up, and then dump it in with the rest of the paint. But this, because it has the blue label, we're going to pull this lid off and fill it up to the blue. You basically fill it to the top of the blue label, roughly right there. So it's about a third of the way full that you fill this up. If you look in here, you can see when it gets to that point. It's not an exact science. If you're off a little bit, it's okay. But you just want to get it close to that. Fill it up with lacquer thinner, close to where the top of that blue label is, like that. Then you put the lid on. Make sure the lid is sealed very tightly. Go around and tighten it down. And then turn it upside down. Make sure the lid's sealed really well, because if you do this and it's not sealed well, you'll have paint going all over it. Because as lacquer thinner, when you shake it up, it like air expands inside of there for whatever reason. So you shake it up good like this, upside down, so you're getting all that pigment off of the bottom. You usually just go about 10 or 15 seconds. And then when you do this part, make sure you take a rag and you put a rag over top of the lid and just slowly crack the lid open around, just slowly go around and crack the lid open as you hold this rag on. If you do it too much at once and you don't have this rag on, it'll kind of like splatter and paint goes all over the place. So as you can see, most of that color is pretty transparent now. That's what you want to look for. The same thing inside the can. So when I pour this out, if I poured it out and at the bottom of that there was a bunch of pigment still, I'd want to put some more. That means I didn't shake it good enough. But you can tell it's pretty good. Some of these cans we save, but for the most part, unless you're told to, after you do that, go ahead and throw it away. And I only usually do one or two cans at a time. I'll probably put one more can in here, but you don't want to fill it up too much because then you can't stir it and mix it really well. So I'll only do one or two cans at a time. You don't need to do, I'll try to do all the cans at once. I don't want you to do that. So that's how you add paint. If it's not a blue label can, this process is basically the same. You just put a tiny bit of lacquer thinner in the bottom of the can before you put the lid back on to shake it up and get all that pigment out of there. But you don't want to thin down the darker colored paints because it will be too thin, the darker colored paints, if it's not a blue label.